Sneaking around. Bad guy, I don't know, they've switched positions. The bad guy now is below the hero, and the hero's stalking above. Death stalking. Oh no! This one's lasting for ages. Oh, this might beat Mulan. Deathstalker 3, you're doing so good. Now you're probably making something worse than even Mulan. Look at how long they're holding that. Gosh. I thought you were of a higher caliber than Disney's crap. Don't stoop so low to their level.
Shadowversity.
Greetings, I'm Shad, and I've taken a look at a good number of fight scenes here on Shadowversity, more specifically the big ones, like from Star Wars and other things. But there is kind of a category of sword fights that some well-known, some that other great YouTubers have covered, but I have not covered yet. And far from the big, well-known ones, no. There's also the atrocious ones, the worst of the worst that I have not covered yet. And so that's it. We will be doing that, starting with an all-time classically grand piece of crap, and it is the sword fight from the film Deathstalker 3. As you probably know, what we do here on Fight Scene Autopsy is that we take a look at the practical function behind the fight scene itself, as well as how just good it looks, and some of the fancy moves justified with either the setting, the way the characters, or to that magical powers, all those things. We try and take a look at that, but of course the primary focus on is how realistic is it? Which is exactly a very important focus with my own stories that I've written, specifically my novel, and you can actually check out this story in a far greater visual form, the graphic novel adaptation of my book, Shadow of the Conqueror, Enemies of Self, which is still available for a very short time, but if you get in quickly you can get it, which you can get over on Indiegogo. If you like comic books, you're going to love my graphic novel, and if you've never tried graphic novels before, this is a great entry point because, look, I pulled out all the stops. We've got some of the best art that you can buy. Mike S. Miller, he's an industry veteran, and I was reading the other day, and I know it's my own work, but I just got pulled in and I found it so immersive. Graphic novels are brilliant because a picture really is worth 1,000 words. If you haven't tried one before, give my graphic novel a go. In fact, we're selling the hardcover at the cost of a softcover, so it's a brilliant deal, and I really feel you're gonna love the story. What's the story? Well, Michael Kramer says it best.
The tale of a deposed, tyrannical emperor who embarks on a journey towards redemption. The 82-year-old Dalen, once known as Dalus the Conqueror, is cursed, becoming a youth, and obtains the mythical powers of the legendary Arch-Knights. Battling inner demons, his violent and cruel inclinations, and enemies both old and new, he ventures onward trying to fight back the growing darkness threatening the world. After all, who better to hunt monsters than the greatest monster the world has ever known?
There are collector covers, and if you really want something special, we're also doing leatherbound. Not only leatherbound for the graphic novel, but the novel that it's based on, well, I'm releasing the second edition version of it, and you can get that in collector covers as well as leatherbound as well. Something really special. I love leatherbound so much. So those are available for a short time. Make sure you get your copy, because we can absolutely have great stories, awesome heroes again, even when there are such bad stories and media being made. Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to give us some great stories once again, and if we can push this Indiegogo campaign as far as possible, I'm going to be reinvesting it to just make more. So do share it with your friends, support it if you can. Thank you to everyone who has, and I can't wait to get you your copy. Okay, so to begin, I have not seen Deathstalker 3. I don't know the context of what's going on, but I'm assuming this guy here, the bald guy, is the bad guy, because this other guy is like, you know, cocksure, and he's also more handsome, so he's clearly the hero. It's just the tropes of these old kind of low-budget sword and sorcery films. Even with this beginning, there's a couple of things that we can comment on. Do you see this sword? Look at that sword. It's like, I guess they just didn't know what real practical swords looked like back then. They're like, oh wow, that is awful. Can't really see the sword of the other guy, but they're wearing kind of just low budget standard fantasy-esque outfits. Interestingly though, the outfits are actually a bit more accurate compared to a lot of other medieval fantasy outfits you see in these kind of type of things. If it's plain tunic, boots, Boots are a little too high. Braces thing, I mean, if sometimes they did have like leather braces that were there for armor, but that just looks like he's wearing for fashion. They didn't just have like large bracer cuff things on their arm. But I mean, outside of that, it's like basic. It still looks low budget. You can get simple garb that is like a tunic and pants and boots and everything that still looks like, you know, it's not cheap. And he's trying to get a sneaky shot in. He's just like, walks up and is like, so, well, that's actually not bad. I don't mind a sneaky shot, but let's see what happens. Oh, I don't know really what he was trying to go for, because what is he aiming? See here? See? He's actually purposely missing the guy's legs. And he could have had it where he did go for like a cheeky thrust, and what the other guy is doing, just he has his sword to the side and just deflecting to the side and rotating up. That could work. Okay, one of the areas you see how they do this loop? Right here, and it's going there. You see, by pushing the opponent's sword all the way around like this, now the guy, there's nothing between, you know, his sword, and so if the guy just strikes down, the hero would be dead, okay? But they don't do that. Instead, he decides to jump over. But hey, if the bad guy actually tried to strike, because he would be inside, you know, the sword, if he tried to strike, that would justify him having to, I gotta jump, and doing a flippy over thing. This has been ragged on as one of the worst fight scenes ever, and yet so far, it's still better than Rings of Power and Rise of Skywalker. Like, the opening choreography is actually better. Rise of Skywalker and Rings of Power is really bad. I have full Fight Scene Autopsies. Go check him out if you want to see. So he lands, and now I don't like this is his sword stance. I could imagine this stance if you're wrestling. Like, you know how you need to get both hands ready to grab, ready to get leverage, hook, headlock, and so it's like this guy has had experience maybe with wrestling and everything like that, and he hasn't realized you have a sword, and so it's just got the same, no. Yeah. Interestingly, is there some way to justify it? There are some sword stances that sometimes brings the other hand forward a little bit to potentially slap aside the opponent's blade with a bare hand. If you have a gloved hand, okay, and in some rapier fencing, okay, you could, because there's not a lot of mass in a rapier blade per se, and so you can get away slapping on kind of the edge of the blade and doing it. And so they might do something like this, like where their hand, but still presenting the main weapon forward. This one like this, you know. You have the sword off your center line. See how it's over here? Just if you brought it on the center line a bit like this and had that would actually be a justifiable stance. So yeah, he holds that stance for a bit. Hasn't changed up really much and moving one side. All right, the bad guy, at least he, you know, puts two hands on his sword. His footwork is a bit off, but at least he's grabbed it, you know, like there. Okay, all right. Again, more sword stances than in Rise of Skywalker. The thing is, though, they are way too close. See how the bad guy, he's just got, like, you know, sort of like this? All he needs to do to end this fight is that. And the guy has his sword so far off center point and is so close, he'd be dead. Straight in the chest or the throat. So instead of doing that, okay, they clearly aim for each other. They go high. Free shot. You had a free shot there, bad guy. Good guy goes with a high strike. He goes to block, and I don't know what to say here. Is this a functional spin? So far, this sword fight is nearly as bad as his reputation. So he goes up for a block, and the blade is there, and it looks like he is spinning underneath, like so, with the blade covering his back as he spins. Like, do you see that? And then he goes for a back kick. That's not a terrible move. I give it points for that. And oh wow, that guy just went flying, tumble over a bed, and is still doing this thing. So now they're separated. The hero is still doing this weird stance. The bad guy, he just decides to throw kind of like a pirouette spin in. Like I criticize spins a lot. The thing is though, there's ever time to do a spin is when you're not in measure of the opponent and you're not a threat. And so that's he just wants to show off. He's like, like to tease him. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that if you're just doing it for show, not trying to integrate it into combat. And so this is the second spin in this supposed terrible fight that is actually has logical validity to it. It's justified. Whereas Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi has weird, bizarre spins. And so many fight scenes have weird, bizarre spins that, no, you're leaving yourself open and it's bad and all that stuff. And this one, this low budget, cheesy, ripped apart fight scene, actually, I did not expect this, is better than Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, and Rings of Power, so far. Okay, so grabbing items around them, throwing them at the opponent, he blocks. Did he get another sword somehow? One was a magic stone? And now the bad guy has two swords. Okay. Interesting. I don't know the significance of the sword. What is he doing? He's just, aha! Aha! It's like he just picked a random stance. He's just like, ah! Okay, big telegraph in that strike. And maybe was he preempting? He's like, yeah, you're probably going to come for a high attack, and so I'll just raise into a block, which is what he does. And so maybe he's just preempting the good guy's really wide telegraph strike. Like, look at this. That was a big, wide overhead thing, wind up, showing where it's going. He could have done that for a feint. Going high, thinks they're going to come around, and so as you go high, you go sideways. Like that. Oh, feint. Oh, they're in the bind. So, okay. The bad guy is holding the sword at bay with the top, but then he's got the second sword holding it lower down. You don't need the second sword to hold the sword at bay. In fact, the top, you have a second sword, just withdraw it and kill him. It'll be game over right here. He doesn't seem to do that. He just pushes him away. Thing is though, that is like a dumb move. Not as bafflingly dumb and bad as some of the moves we saw in other Fight Scene Autopsies. It's bad. It's just not over the top bad. Like grabbing someone, having a weapon offhand and have the weapon disappear. Like that's astronomically dumb. I mean, what movie would be so bad that it'll do that? Remove a weapon out of the fight scene completely. One of the arguments in choreography, okay, is that exaggerated movements where you kind of accentuate and make wider strides. And so instead of like going strike like this, by winding up and going like that, you can convey motion and direction to the audience. And so by doing this, you know which way the strike is coming, and so it's easy for them to read the actual combat that's happening. I was going to say I agree to an extent, but I don't think I really do, because I've seen a lot of fights where they don't do that, and it's fast and quick and precise, and they just look more deadly. It just looks better overall. And so I don't subscribe to that theory that, oh no, exaggerated movements, wider movements, telegraph movements is necessary for a fight scene. Disagree. And as a result, I dislike this movie here. It's wide, telegraphed. Okay, so the bad guy, you got two swords. He's doing it again. You're blocking with both. You don't need a block. Just block with one, attack with the other. It'd be game over. But look, inexperienced sword people, when they grab two swords, maybe they just they have trouble separating each sword into its own movement pattern. And so as a result, they're just operating using both swords as a single kind of thing, because they have trouble. Like now, some people have trouble doing doing this, like that, separating their hands into different motions. Maybe he's like that. He just has trouble separating the motions of his coordination, so he has to do the same kind of, actions together. Ooh, bad move. So he's pushing the good guy's sword down. And see what is doing here? Good guy is basically pushing the good guy's sword into his own legs, okay? And so if the good guy was paying attention, his sword is getting pushed down, all he needs to do is slash at his legs, and he'll get him there. And look how close they are as well. It's definitely in range. He forgets to do that. Okay. what led to their sword positions was bad. But what he does after, from this position here, isn't terrible. And it's another spin. His sword has kind of been locked off at bay, and so he doesn't have a viable direct angle of attack. And so instead, he pushes into the opponent and gonna roll past him. That's also not a bad, like, maneuver, spin, bit of choreography integrating spin into the natural flow of the combat based on where the weapons are at the beginning of this specific maneuver. This is the third spin! That isn't terrible! Like, I can't believe that this is unironically better than Rings of Power and The Last Jedi Rise of Skywalker. And it's one of the most memed on, crapped on sword fights in our, like, community of the sword and in, like, sword review things. I was not expecting this. So look at this. He rolls past, and is he gonna push, hip and shot? Like, I'm engaged. I'm like, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna, like, I'm more engaged than Rings of Power. Okay. You better strike. He's in the position. He rolled past, tried to get to the opponent's open side. So see what the bad guy's doing. Okay. Bad guy, you're kind of moving this way. You have a free shot. Just slice. The hero has his sword raised, so it looks like you're not going to do that. But the hero, he's going in for a strike. You had a free opening right to the good guy's gut. Bad guy. Bad move. And he just got leaned back. Okay, was he feeling threatened? And instead, hero, you also had an open shot. When you rolled past and you're coming around, just get him. But I see they seem to withdraw. And then this is actually somewhat of a stance. He's like, ha-ha! And the bad guy's on his back foot. He's like, gloating, ha-ha. And then he teases, and he's like, yeet! I'm enjoying this. This fight seems great so far. It's got more personality and character than Ray just going, ah! Ah! There's a hero. He's running away. Hang on. How did he get here? The bad guy was behind him last time we saw. And so he's running, and then how did he get there? Though, this is like, you'd think, of course, because you think this is a good sword fight, Chad. No, it's bad. See how bad the bad guy just teleports? They did it in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Darth Vader ends up just appearing in a way, like, how did he get there? It happens more than I think, even with bigger budget stuff. Doesn't excuse this because it's low budget. It's still a criticism, but it's just funny that if you think it's like uniquely bad to this campy, low budget, sword thing, no, it's done in bigger budget stuff as well. All right, he throws a chandelier and he grabs his other sword. He's got to have his jumps like he was just standing on top of a rack, like a torture device rack. Reasons, okay? Ahaha! And the hero, he's back in his stance. This is the wrestling stance of swordsmanship, where just in case you want to grapple, okay, my sword isn't on my center line, but still, the villain guy, he's holding his swords up like this. He's like, I am open. And they're both doing these weird stances now. What's going on? They're like, oh, the thing is swinging. This is a weird kind of, he's like leaning back as he strikes. Odd. And big wind up with this one. Look at this. They're like, oh, telegraph. They clash. What will they do in the bind here? In fact, they're in the bind. This is one of my big pet peeves in regards to sword choreography, and we've even done a little short to show things that you can do from in the bind, the options where they don't just need to hold it. Will they hold it here? We'll find out, but do go check out that little short if you want to see some other options. But what happens here? Do they hold it? Oh, a little bit, but not too long. That's nowhere near as bad as I saw in like Mulan or many like Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker stuff. Like, And in fact, he almost, see how he leverages his sword forward like that? That's actually a great option, but if he just aimed it at the guy's head, you would have gotten him. Instead, he's like going down to wind the sword around in a circle. So yeah, he slides, oh interesting, he's sliding the sword down, and it looks like the bad guy's going in to stab him, but the sword gets knocked as the sword's moving down. Is that the justification for it? Maybe. But okay, now it goes all the way under, and the bad guy really could just slice at the guy's legs if you're paying attention. They're really close, easy enough to do it. Comes up, so full wind, all the way around, and they almost do it a second one, separating, and they go, so it separates, and he goes in for a sideways attack. It's telegraphed, not as bad as other things I've seen. Oh no, you were doing so well. This is, oh no, what are you doing? This is so dumb. It's like the guy, he has two swords, okay? He is blocking with one. He has the other sword right there, and the good guy is about to rotate into that sword. And all the bad guy is doing is like, blew his sword down. The guy is moving into it, and he's just holding it at bay, doing nothing. Okay, this is astronomically bad in regards to sword choreography. This is top tier bad, right? This is like Rise of Skywalker bad. Oh, and so instead of stabbing him, I don't know, they go to hug, or like, guy, dude, you have two swords. You're holding one of your swords off to the side. You have a sword right here. It's doing nothing. You're like, there, just get him. But instead, I don't know what's going on. Like, all right. This is as bad as Rey being choked by the Imperial Guard thing, but they don't remove his weapon. They just have him hold it there like an idiot. What's better? Having him hold the weapon there like an idiot and do nothing with it, or have it removed in post? I would always say have it removed in post is worse. At least the guy, he grabs for it. He's like, you can't get, even though there was lots of opportunity to get him, but now I got the other one, you can't get me with that. And now they're almost in a lover's embrace. Look at his face is right next to him. He can whisper tender nothings into his ear. They're wrestling. Okay, this position here, how they got to it is really dumb. But now that they're in this position, at least it's justified, because the one where Rey is holding her like lightsaber, around her throat, right? There's nothing holding her arm there. All she needs to do is like extend the arm and stab the guy around like that. Like, it was such an artificially stupid, restrictive position because she wasn't being held there. She had a free arm. She could do a lot with it. Then she's like, oh no, I can't do anything. I gotta drop it. And then, so even though there's been a lot bad, it's still way better than Last Jedi. Because this position here actually would be a precarious position if somehow you got into it in a justifiable way. They didn't. But now that it's there, okay, so leverage, his twists, he gets free. Could he have done something with the sword? Tricky to say. Yeah, if he slashed forward, he might have been able to get the bad guy. But now he's off balance. Oh, and there's a strike. And that looks like, he would have missed, but you have to look closely. You see where he is on the table? And so where the guy's sword comes down isn't where he was, but with the perspective, it sells it a little bit better. He rolls out of the way. He's in trouble. The bad guy goes for a big wide slash. He dodges, but bad guy, you got another sword. You just got another slash, you got another sword. You gotta do something with the other sword, mate. He doesn't seem to do that. But, all right, he rolls, dodges, and what is he doing now? Yeah, boot. He's going to boot him. Oh. Okay, is he dead? Is the good guy dead? What's happening? Is he just holding the blade there? Or is he getting booted off before he could land the strike? Looked a little fake, okay? Didn't sell the motion very well. But he gets knocked off. I thought this hero still had his sword. Did he drop his... Okay, he must have dropped his sword when he had to dodge over the table. So he doesn't have a weapon. And now he picks up a chain. He's got a chain. What? What? Look at this head. You got a chain there. And then in the very next thing, he has his... Where did that come from? Come on! Oh, you're doing so well! Then you had to pull a Last Jedi on us. Instead of editing out a sword, you edited in a sword. You were doing so good! Come on! Now we're getting into the realms of Last Jedi bad with this astronomical bullcrap stuff up. Okay, so he summons his sword out of the ether and it magically appears. And then he swings his, I don't know, he throws the chain, he wraps it around the bad guy's blade. Oh, okay. It's wrapped around and they're like, oh boy, we really are in Last Jedi. Bad things, because in Last Jedi, there's a moment where a lightsaber gets wrapped up by some sci-fi chain kind of thing. And instead of doing the obvious thing, she holds it at the exact position that would maintain the leverage of the opponent. So it's wrapped around, and Rey is like, getting pulled, when all she needed to do is move it down, and the chain would slide off. That's exactly what this guy needs to do. He's got his other sword, and he's like holding it in such a way that the chain, all he needs to do is move it, and the chain would slide off. And I can summon the sword back into my hand because I just have that magical power. If they establish, I don't know the greater context, did they establish this guy can just summon magic swords into his hand? There would be no criticism because I have that power. I don't know if he has it, but I do. Look, no sword, one sword, two swords. It's magic. What can I say? So just let this chain slide off. It's not like, oh, he's got ya, but he's like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I can't let him get my sword. And now it seems to be wrapped around the crossguard. Okay, if it was wrapped around the crossguard, and then like that could justify it, but it wasn't wrapped around the crossguard. Not that I saw, because if it's actually wrapped around the crossguard, that would make this better than the Last, Jedi. Then he yanks it, and okay. He yanks it, but they don't show him losing the sword, but the other bad guy lost his other sword. So I guess it worked. Would have been good to see it, just to get a bit of, visual storytelling to convey what's happening. All right, they're facing off. The bad guy jumps, and then the good guy jumps onto, and he's gonna swing! It's like, some classic old school swashbuckling action. I'll find a rope and swing on it. Probably not the best idea in an actual sword fight. Let's see what happens. Okay. Your feet first, you're vulnerable, you don't have a sword to guard you. So what the bad guy's doing here isn't too bad. If he held the chandelier as a shield and slashed sideways instead of, slashing low like he's doing, he would kill the good guy. But he misses completely. The good guy was completely open. I don't know what he was trying to do with that. Just look cool, because swashbuckling choreography. And he jumps down, and now they're sword fighting on a stairwell. They are going for the classic old school swashbuckling tropes. Sword stances, guys. Sort of like bad guy. You're like, I know he's going for a strike, but still, this is like aiming for the swords there. Oh, actually, no. That totally would have got the good guy if he didn't bring his sword to block. They're aiming for the opponent more than they did in Rise of Skywalker. They were barely aiming at the opponent at all. Watch the autopsy on that. They're basically aiming at air for most strikes in the entire fight scene. Even with the errors in this one, it is still better than Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Okay, see this? He goes strike, and they don't hold it in a static bind. He withdraws. He probably could have taken advantage, because look, by withdrawing your blade like this, bad guy has his sword high, all you need to do is rotate that into a strike and game over. But he swings up, another strike, is this static? It's a bit of a static bind here. Bad guy, if you're doing this, or you're holding at bay, switch it to a hanging guard, let the sword fall down, and then strike. Just like that, you could have had him. Look at the leverage that the hero's pushing down here, but you're just, I don't know what happened. He loses his footing, gets pushed down there. So he fell down, and he must have ran off because we're in a new location. I don't know what's going on now. He ran away. New opponent, big bad guy, big telegraph strike. Aiming, what is he? Wow. I know that's set up so he can look all epic and jumping over the strike, but this new bad guy is just aiming so low, he didn't even need to do that. You just, like, move up a step and strike down and get him. But no, big jump. Kind of fun swashbuckly action. He loves this pose. He loves that pose. He gets back in there and, telegraph strike by the bad guy. All right, you know, duck under. It looks like he was aiming to miss, but he ducks so ahead of the strike that it's hard to see. Bad guy recovers. You know, it's like he's got a sloppy kind of guard, but at least he's kind of holding it. Withdraws to a telegraph strike, a clash, static bind. Pushes away though. Okay, they push away from the static bind. He rolls back over the table and lands the roll. I'll pay him that. I'll give him that one. Bad guy knocks away a thing. He's like, ah! And sword stance. Okay. Telegraphed strike, but that one looked like, you know, it would have landed if he didn't block, and he's got a solid, a higher guard. Again, drop it to a hanging one, slide down like that. Would work well, but he's going to just hold it statically and then withdraw it to another really, really big, clash. Oh dear, what is going on? Oh, the sword even touches him. Oh no, what are you doing? Oh, you're doing so good. I know there were some big errors, but still. Oh, we have to have a horrible static bind. I did kind of like a teaser short in preparation for this one, talking about this thing right here, static binds. Check out the short if you just want to see me, a very quick little rant about this. But not only is this bad, look, the sword is touching. They actually touch. And if either of them just kind of rotate a bit, they'll slice into them. But they have to go, and it's the classic one. It's the one where it's like right in between the swords. It's point blank range where you can smell each other's breath. Look at it. This is awful. And they're holding it for ages. What is it? And it's like, no, keep pushing. I'll keep pushing. Oh, come on. You had to do it. Of course you did. That was awful. That was really bad. And yet I still don't think it's longer than the static bind in Mulan. Mulan had the longest one. And they even have a close-up growl sound from the bad guy. It's like, grrr, and ooh. Okay, back into the fight. Look, that is big telegraph overhead strike. The guy jumps out of the way, dodging, does a roll over the table. It's interesting. This still has some of those classic swashbuckling, choreography, where it's on the stairs and it's rolling over tables and stuff. It's reminding me of some of those classic sword fights. Still bad, but not as bad. But there's been some good moments. There's actually been some good elements in this one, amazingly. All right, so bad guy. Now, he's got the high ground. The thing is, though, we've done videos on this multiple. I've commented on this. Scalagram has a dedicated video. In a sword fight, this is actually worse for you. Like having high ground like this, it's harder to guard your legs. And as much, like if you just have the person on the lower ground, they just guard the upper part. They can do strikes to kind of, still guard themselves from the thing and strike at the opponent's legs. And it's much harder for the opponents to protect their legs. It puts them in a more vulnerable position. And then he jumps down. He goes, good on him, good choice. And it's this sword stance again. We need to name it. We have it. It's the wrestler. This is the wrestler. So the wrestling stance. Record it. It is now in HEMA. The wrestler. We've got there's the fool, there's the roof, there's ox, now wrestler. Alright, static bind, basic stuff. These are, alright, so they do focus on a lot of these kind of wide strikes and blocks, pause, then back again, single strike. That isn't terrible. I mean, in a lot of sword fights, they end in a brief number of exchanges. And so there's a lot of times where they go in for an engagement and sometimes only 1 to up to 5, moves are performed before usually someone gets tagged by the end there, or they can actually withdraw. And so I'm not opposed to this idea of, big committed kind of strike, block, reset. Big strike, reset. It's not unreasonable in terms of realistic combat. And they're very committed strikes, very telegraphed, lots of power behind them. Oh, another static bind. They're just holding it. They hold up. Okay. He's a little guy. He's got a bow, but look at what side the arrow is on. Not this. This. I've got videos on this. This can be done. This is functional and realistic. He's got the thumb raised to hold it there. He's got it, you can shoot it with leaning it out like that. I've done it many times. This is not to be criticized. This is a perfectly viable way of shooting a bow, completely functional, and we have plenty of evidence that was done historically in lots of medieval art. So, and look, and he shoots it. This fight scene was here. Now it's here. It's got shooting on the outside of the bow. And, kills the bad guy right when they're holding a static bind. Good shot from the kid. Don't know the backstory. Don't know if, he was trained by the hero or set up. But, and he falls, big epic death. Huzzah! It's great. And I like patting the kid on the back. Good shot, lad. Good shot. Hey! This makes me want to watch this film. Okay. What happened to the bad guy that he was fighting? The bald one. He was on the stairs, and now I don't know what's going on. He disappeared when they were on the stairs. The hero stumbled down, and the next scene we saw him, he was down a different set of stairs fighting I don't know. Did we even see? Is he dead? He might, I don't know what's going on. Ooh, new sword stance. He's like, I mean, you don't want to really present your hand forward too, because it'll chop bad. So, if it was like this, so instead of like that, you can keep the sword here, just like that. That could work. Is this a betrayal? Is this the damsel in distress, but flipped on its head? I have no idea. What's going on. Here he is, sneaky. He's like, and look who's back. The wrestler, go quickly, get it. The bad guy's got both of his short sword, knife. He's got his offhand weapon there. He's really committed to that stance. That's hilarious. Okay. Yes, I've been laughing at the stance, but I'm going to give it points and compliment because they're being consistent with it. This is this guy's definitive style. He has gone back to this again and again. This is his sword stance. And so a lot of times, this happened in Rings of Power when the people fighting Galadriel, a guy got in a stance and then we never saw him adopt that stance again, okay? It was never resetting to like this. My, preferred stance is just this, the classic this, sometimes a bit lower, on the ground, like that, okay? I like that one, and I like this one, and that's what I usually out to in sparring, training, and whatnot. And of course, I'll sometimes go to roof or something, mix it up, see an advantage, things like that. But for the most part, people have preferred stances. And the fact that they're doing it here, and they don't do it in a lot of films, makes it better. Okay. All right. He's doing this. All he needs to do is that. Extend that, and this is viable. There's something to be worked with there. Not like that. Why? Just there. Present it to your opponent. Though, admittedly, I actually have done this once. I realized my opponent was stretching his arms forward to try and strike at me, but he was keeping all the rest of his body at bay, and I wanted to lure him in. And so instead of extending the sword like this, I actually held it like this. It's a bad sword stance, but I did it intentionally to bring him in, because this will hold people at bay, but if there's less sword between you and your opponent, they will get closer. And he came in closer, tried to strike, and then all I did, bang, and got him in his hands. We see a spin. The thing is, though, he's blocking, and he wants to push the sword away, and is moving with the spin as he's pushing it away. That wouldn't be terrible if not for the second sword or knife that this guy's supposed to have. And so, hero is exposing his back completely. Yeah, the bad guy has a sword knocked off to the side, but he should have a sword here, ready to just go, right into the good guy. So this is just exposing your back to, hit me, freebie. Interesting, if the bad guy didn't have an offhand weapon, this could actually work, where you're pushing the blade to the side and you're moving with it. That could work if you're quick enough. I just find it so interesting that the spins in this fight scene have some validity to them. And even this one, even though it's still a fail, there's something that could have worked. So, bad guy, instead of hitting with the sword, he just jumps. He strikes low, very sloppy. He does nothing with his own sword. Like, if the bad guy, instead of like, you could jump and strike, or do that, or just move your legs back. That's the easiest. Instead of jumping, just move back and hit. Okay. Usually it's like one motion back and down. Definitely could have taken out the guy then. And oh, look at that overswing. See where he was there? Dead open. Oh, what are you aiming for there? The guy is just like this. Just hit him right in the face. But instead, he aims for the blade. There's an exchange. Okay. Another spin. I need to break down the spin. He's almost moving out of measure as he spins. And if you're going into a block like on that side, there's some validity that you could, if you're withdrawing and you have a lot of motion where you're going here, you move with it. You could almost pull it off. That was a quick spin. So one of the ways that spins can work if they're really quick, and so quick that the opponent can't take advantage of it and wasn't ready for it, and if it's just like a split second, bang, and is ready, you could get away with it. They do this in real combat, okay? This spinning heel back kick that you see in Taekwondo, where all they do is pivot like this, and as soon as they pivot this way, this foot is ready to just smack the opponent behind. And there's also the back fist, where they pivot and they come around with a strike just like that. So you can get away with spins in combat. It's just a matter of the setup and how quick. And in sword fighting, it can really leave you open. But if they're quick like this, I think this one would get a pass. This guy just likes. They both like standing with the. Like, guys, protect your center line like this. All you need to do is rotate. Instead of this, do this. Put one in front of the other and protect that center line. You'd be doing much better. And instead, what is happening here? What is this? It's just oh, crane technique. And he grabs, hey, using your environment. He grabs a chandelier. Use a chandelier to block and deflect. I like that they're using the environment. He still has the. Just throw that chandelier on the center line as a deflecting implement. That would be viable, but he's barely using it. Now he strikes forward. He leaves his back open to the enemy's offhand weapon, which he doesn't use. Oh, wait. He goes to strike, blocks with the chandelier. That they were getting a bit, see how it's not locked in the chandelier at all there? And then the next cut, now it's locked into the chandelier. Look, I think they missed that in the take. So in the choreography, he meant to try and get the sword in the chandelier, and then they quickly cut. It's like if you're not paying attention, I think you could almost get away with something like this. But still, you can definitely see sword is not locked into the look at that, not locked into the chandelier at all there. And the next take, it is. And now, if they managed to pull it off, this actually would have been clever because the chandelier has prongs, and so if he could twist, he could get leverage and lock away one of the opponent's swords, which is what they try to do here. And look, hey, interesting. They're almost justifying a really unique, awkward position. One of those lover's embrace positions. Definitely the chandelier locking away thing. If they're both struggling, they're getting pulled back. The thing that would be iffy is what's happening with the swords down here with these hands, because whoever has the sword behind could just go in and strike, but if the bad guy has the sword above the hero, that could be really difficult. This could actually justify this odd grapple. It actually works. This awkward position is justified in the setup. The reason why I'm baffled is because that is a good bit of choreography, and it's like they tried to do this again in Last Jedi Rise of Skywalker, and they failed at it so bad. I love it. This is hilarious. And so they're really struggling. It's an awkward position. Look at them. They're almost dancing. And yes, all right. See the bad guy's sword? Okay. This would be justified like the bad guy wouldn't be able to slide his sword further in if the hero, if it was locked on the crossguard. See, if this was the hero's sword and he couldn't get further in because the crossguard is there, but it looks like the hero's sword is like that, which means the bad guy could just slide this sword, see the sword, underneath and go and get the hero. Because if that was there, it's almost like they're locked, actually. In this position, yeah, both crossguards are locked into one another. And so this position, this awkward position, is actually perfectly justified in the choreography that set it up. Oh, wow. And it's awkward. All right. Now they're just strength, leverage against leverage. Bad guy is pulling up. He wants to get the sword free. This would be an awkward position. Like, what could you do in this? Because the hero, his sword is locked away. If he withdraws it, the bad guy can just slice down. And so there isn't a lot of options here. You could try and do something clever, but if you're in the midst of the fight and you haven't trained to know like quick counters from this awkward stance, which you wouldn't really train to know how to, get out of this position too easily. It's not a common thing. Yeah, you could just be locked in, not knowing what to do. And so you're just pushing leverage against leverage. All right, both the swords get pushed around. Now this is interesting. Like, from what it looks like, both swords seem to be appropriately locked away, that they can't easily take advantage of one another, which justifies the grapple to the point where, all right, I can't get advantage or leverage with the sword, and so I'll shove you off, need to get distance and reset. Wow, that was actually, that was a great bit of choreography. Oh, I love it. That's better than Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, Mulan, and Rings of Power. And then he jumps up on foot, okay, bad move, jumping, high ground doesn't give you advantage. Hang on. Is the bad guy, like, where did he go? It's like, oh no, where is he? Where is he? All right, this is dumb. You saw him. You were facing him before. Like, look, he comes in. You know where he is. Why are you spinning around and wondering, like, oh, where did he go? I don't know what the bad guy is doing there. And it was instant kill. God, like, hero, your sword is there. The bad guy doesn't see you. Slice down. I don't know why. He just jumps off now. You're doing so well. And so there was dumb and fun things in that part. The bad guy, instead of killing, like, look at this, completely open. And the motion the bad guy takes to get the cloth is the same time, or maybe longer, than it would have taken to just stab him. So the fact that this one's bad, instead of just killing him, he decides to, I'll put cloth over you. Look, his sword's literally passed over him. All right, this is unforgivable. This is no, bad show. Bad choreography. It was a game over. End of the sword fight. You would have killed him easily then, and you chose not to. Stupid move. And he decides, oh, okay, there's someone behind him. He just he heard. It's like, oh, quick, deal with that. Good on him. And okay, he withdraws his sword. Bad move there. The new person falls past, and the hero's like, I got him. Okay. Is that it? Okay, so the download of the fight scene that we had ended here, and the fight scene wasn't over, so we found our version on YouTube that we'll be able to finish now, and the hero runs off, and I guess this other guy is an ally, and I don't know the context. Okay, anyway, back to the fight scene. The hero's chasing the bad guy. Love that pose. Where is he? I cannot see him. Hang on. Okay, at least he's holding a sword with two hands now. Instead of this, it's this, which is better. It's an improvement. Oh, okay, he must have heard. He was like, you're over there. And I have no idea what was happening here, because he just kind of comes in off. So I was like, ha ha ha. Okay, yeah. Withdraws, goes for a thrust. That was actually not bad. He holding it high and withdraws and just thrusts and then gets deflected to this. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Oh, but now he stumbles. Why did he stumble back? Don't know what caused that. Oh no! It's a classic. I'm down. You know what this reminds me of? Rings of Power. There's a moment here in is it episode 6? It was like a Númenórean guard on the ground, and it was an orc just hitting down, and the guy blocked it, and so he decided, and the orc is just there doing the same thing over and over, and the guy's just like, ah! Will this be? I don't think this will be as bad as Rings of Power, because the obvious thing to do is like, oh, you blocked, thrust, find a way to void the blocking blade and thrust down. And instead, they hold it, and he gets just pushed off. I mean, hey, pushing off with your boot. There's a novel idea. The Númenórean guard could have done that at any time, but he just lies there screaming like, oh, no. So, yes, this is better than Rings of Power. Pushes him off, gets to his feet, withdraws, and are we going to have another swashbuckling scene on the stair? Here we are! Bad guy tries to hit, some missed, strikes again, misses, hero jumps up over the ledge, and now he's sneaky. He's hiding, he's waiting. Is he setting up an ambush through some narrow corridors? I'd give that points. And so, what's going on? Will they get it? Okay, I like that they show the bad guy being cautious, going around the corner, like, where is he? And he has his sword ready. I'll give it that. Hero is also doing the same. They've lost the location of each other. Where will they appear next? Oh, look at that! Sorry, okay. The bad guy realised the hero was on the other side of the wall, otherwise why would he reach through? And so he has a sword, though. Why are you reaching through with your hand when, like, if you know the hero's, like, right in front of this weird opening? Is it like, it's not an arrow leaf? I was like, you just stab through and get him. Instead, he decides to drop his sword for some reason, and I'll get you, I'll choke you to death. You had a sword! Oh, my goodness. Why? I was like, epic, suspense moment. It's bad. It's very bad. Come on, Deathstalker 3. This is the type of crap I would expect to see in Rings of Power, not something of your caliber. Look at this. It gets free. I'll just withdraw back in. Alright, we can skip the battle. No, that was funny. I was like, gotcha! Hey! Yes! This happy guy. I killed someone. I got him. I like that guy. Good. That's a... Yeah! I'm seriously enjoying this way more than Rings of Power. I know I said it, I'm repeating it, because Rings of Power is so bad. So, hero is sneaking around. The bad guy, I don't know, they've switched positions. The bad guy now is below the hero, and the hero's stalking above. Death stalking. He's looking down. So, I mean, yeah, what, like, you don't necessarily want to lose your sword, but if the enemy doesn't know that it is underneath, would you risk just like dropping it? But no, I don't think that you would be so assured of an instant kill to the point where you're willing to lose your own sword. You could cut him though. Imagine like getting him right down in the collarbone or something, because he's not wearing armor. Bad guy, where is he? Look up. Oh, he's gonna jump! It's big. Oh, that wasn't. It was more like a fall, more like a drop off the ledge. And that was a big height. I know they did the cut, and but aha! The frog stance. We have the wrestler stance, and now we have the frog stance. Oh. All right, back into the swashbuckling. All right, big wide committed strikes. It seems a similar kind of stuff, though. It's not terrible. This is bad. They're at static bind, really close. Look how close the bad guy's sword is right here. All he needs to do is that. It's just a slice, lift, extend, cut. Bloody friggin' static binds. I hate them. Oh my goodness, and they hold it for a while. He shoves it. They can. Ooh. Oh no. This one's lasting for ages. Oh, this might beat Mulan. Deathstalker 3, you're doing so good. Now you're probably making something worse than even Mulan. Look at how long they're holding that. Gosh. I thought you were of a higher caliber than Disney's crap. Don't stoop so low to their level. They're still going! They even switched positions! And now they release it. Oh dear. I think this one is the longest static bind we've had. You're on Fight Scene Autopsy. I was enjoying it so much, and then you just had to poop the bed. Why? Okay, big wide strike, and if we look back, what is it? The hero, right? His sword is low. Just if he extended as this guy's going up high like this, no, but he does need a block, granted, so he goes to block. I gotta give something points here. Do you see the size of this Merlon? Crenellations of the right size. Oh my goodness! Guys, Helm's Deep Lord of the Rings didn't even have this. This is a big point. Appropriate size battlements. The Crenell and the Merlon. The crenellations, the battlement of the castle, the right size. Okay? It's like tug of war with this fight scene. Something terrible, something great. Blocking some of what we see here, but that was an inch. It's like a big high back block like that. Okay, cool. Parry, jumping upstairs. There's a lot of kind of scene transition and movement in this fight scene. Out of anything that you could say, there's heaps of movement in this. It varies up the locations and makes the fight scene far more dynamic. I've seen a lot worse. And now they're on a narrow ledge. All right, this was an interesting. What's happening here? This is a bad. So the hero's there. At least he's got a stance, right? So I was doing this, and he goes for a block. But what you could do is extend in that block and get the sword to lock onto the crossguard, and just go bang like that, and you'd be able to strike the opponent in the same motion. Because you see what happens here? He just kind of lifts it. Is tepid. It is holding his head. If he just extend it and strike, yeah, you could get him. But no, you're he pushes it aside a bit. Some parrying. He jumps aside. Oh, okay. The villain kind of overswung there. And he's almost, so I'm going backwards, right? But if you see what happens, see what he does here? So he leans forward too much, he's off balance, and by withdrawing, he's overswung, and his blade kind of goes all the way into this bit of scaffolding, getting a bit trapped and locked away, and oh look! Oh! Yeah! Look at that! So, okay, what actually happened here? This happens in real fight. So if someone is doing these big wide swings and they're overswinging, they're overcommitting, if you withdraw, let them pass, you can then take advantage of their opening. That's essentially what happens here, but in a more elaborate fashion where his overswing of the bad guy makes him go all the way forward, and the hero jumps all the way out of the way, and then he comes back with his blade right to the guy's throat. I like it. Surrender or die. That's the hero moment. He's got him. So predictions. Okay, he's gonna be I got you, I won, you're at my mercy. He's gonna show mercy to the villain, and I haven't seen this movie, right? If they follow the normal tropes, the bad guy will feign submission. You got me, and then just as the hero, turns back, he's gonna try and kill him, and the hero is forced to kill him. We see it a lot. We'll see if they do that trope here. So look at this. Mercy. Oh, look at that. Okay. So the bad guy didn't even pretend like, yes, I submit to you. He just goes straight for the nut shot. Kicks him right in the balls. And then gets his sword free. I like it. I think it's great. And, all right, so the hero dodges out of the way. And it's back on, fellas. Oh, look at this. Going for a stab. He's kind of just standing there now. He's like, it's kind of what Darth Maul was doing when he was just, Obi-Wan flips over top and Darth Maul turns around and suddenly does nothing and just stands there and takes it. Is that what we're seeing here? Because, kind of. Like, there's a lot of what you could do with your sword. See, he's getting up. His sword has been in position. All he had to do was like that. And the guy's dead. Or just do it, like slash with something. So he just stands there, lets him, and then withdraws the sword like he's being knocked with a lot of force. But it's not. Like we can see, there's not a lot of force. Anyway, supposedly both fall back into some weird crate thing. Oh, it was a hard shot. And is this the heroine coming to help the hero? You know, she's probably the love interest. I don't know. Everyone's just cheering. I guess they won the other battle. Now they're just like, I think he's going to win. Oh, yeah. Do you think we should help? Nah, he's fine. Then spewing if he then dies. Like, oh, he died. You're right, we probably should have helped. That's sorry. It's on us. Just watching. It was really, really entertaining, though. They're just standing casually. What happened? Okay. They were rolling around in the crates trying to get back up last I remember, and now they're in a completely new position. It looks like the bad guy strike should have hit him, but I don't know, he jumped just past it. And he lost his sword. I'm assuming love interest. Take your sword. Here it is. Epic. Look, okay. What they needed to do was actually show him lose the sword in a more visual way, and then have him kind of try and reach for it, but then he can't because the bad guy's there. He has to jump out of the way to set up the payoff of the love interest, the hero girl, throwing the sword to him and then him getting it back, and her showing like, look, she would have died because she's saving his life by giving him the sword, you know. That would have been a better payoff. Oh no! The bad guy kills her because she left herself open throwing the sword to him, but the bad guy going to kill her gets stabbed by, and wow! Plot twist! Whoa, gee! Look at what's going on here. That was a multi-layered payoff and ending for this fight scene. She sacrifices her life to give him the sword, and then the bad guy leaves himself open to kill her because she's open, but by him killing her leaves him open to get killed by the hero. And then he goes to kill the hero, and the hero grabs the sword before it lands. Wow, there's multi-layers to this. Unironically, it's actually pretty good. Oh, look at this. Oh no. The tragic end. Will she survive? And then the guy has been run through. We saw that blade go in. And then, look, you can grab the opponent's sword, okay? And the way he's grabbing it, he probably wouldn't get cut either. It's not the best way because he's trying to pull it this way. So it's basically trying to hold the sword away from him like this, okay? And so that's a hard angle because it could slip out because they're trying to pull. But he could do it if he just grabbed it fully, just like, pulls it away. And look, exchange. Cut on the hand, but you held it at bay to get the leg. Like, that's perfectly viable. Grabbing an opponent's blade, yes. And so they do that. And the bad guy's like, you got me. You got me good. Look at the incredulity. Like, you know, he's acting it. And the hero's like, I'm liking it. This is great. And then they're really extending this death sequence. Look at his face. The intensity. Dum, da, 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 da. And then... What? He explodes! Plot twist! I didn't see that coming! What? So So yeah, his exploded kind of corpse now falls out, and yeah, it's magic. Like he exploded because of magic, and then then he disintegrates. That was amazing. Look, I'm sure I've watched some of the other guys review this fight scene, but it was years ago, and I've forgotten everything about this. So this is like watching it afresh. That was so unexpected. And now, she sacrificed her life to save his. This is a tender moment. Like, it's campy, it's overacted, yet unironically better than Rings of Power. And I love it. I want to know if she lives now. Oh no, she's dead, she's gone. It was a true heroic sacrifice. Tragedy. More emotional payoff and emotional feeling in this. Because I mean, if Galadriel died, I'd just be cheering. Yep, they're saying goodbye. Tragic. Oh, but she gave her life to save the hero, and there we have it. That was a roller coaster. I was seriously not expecting it to be any good at all. I thought it was like dumpster fire throughout. Yet there was far more to like in it than I expected. The fight scene from Deathstalker 3. Is it because just the fight scenes in recent media have been so atrociously bad? Like, look at the fight scene autopsy we did with Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, Rings of Power. That they've been so bad recently that it set the bar even lower than we thought. And what was thought to be the worst sword fight, like, in cinema, film, TV, no, there's actually things to like in it. And unironically better than Rings of Power, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Let me know what you think. This was a blast looking at, I thought, going to be the worst fight scenes ever. Turns out they might not be. Subversion, expectations subverted. And there's more to look at. There's a lot of like classic bad fight scenes that now I really want to check out just to see if the original criticisms still hold weight just compared to how bad things have been recently. I'm looking forward to it. Hope to see you there. And until that time, farewell.